Okay, so this is how to stop diabetes. Stop diabetes. Hey guys, Dr. Huntington here, and today I'm going to talk to you about how it is that so many people are either diabetic or on their way to having blood sugar problems. This is important to me because I want to stop this. I mean, it's completely unnecessary. How many people struggle with blood sugar issues? It doesn't have to happen to them, and it doesn't have to happen to you. So how is it possible that so many people are having trouble controlling their blood sugar? I mean, it's not like there's a lack of information out there about diabetes. There's certainly no lack of books or websites, and for that matter, doctors or medications. Yet the statistics keep rising. Did you know that some estimates are approaching 1 billion, with a B, diabetics worldwide? That's about 1 out of every 8 people. And if you add in people who are pre-diabetic, which you could call like diabetic light, that estimate approaches 3 billion people around the world. So let's cut through all the BS and go straight to the core of the problem. If you are diabetic, there are 3 areas that you can work on which will help you to start resolving your blood sugar issues today or as soon as you can get started on them. And it does not have to be hard because it took you decades to become a type 2 diabetic. So if it takes you many months to reverse this problem, that's not so bad. Okay, the first area is knowledge. You need to increase your level of knowledge about how your body works, about food, and about the disease itself. If you have type 2 diabetes, then there is likely something that you don't know. Because if you knew everything about it, then it would be almost impossible for you to have this condition. So let's look at increasing knowledge. First thing I have listed here, foods to eat and not to eat. Now here's the thing. No matter where you are in terms of your knowledge about foods, there's definitely an opportunity for you to improve in this area because there's nobody in the whole world who knows everything about all the foods and how they relate to diabetes. So this is an area that you can increase your knowledge right away. The second one I have listed is what time of day is best to eat. Most people don't even think about that. But when you eat, definitely makes a difference with your blood sugar and your insulin. How many times a day should you eat? There's been advice all over the board on this one. But there definitely is a way, an eating strategy in terms of number of times per day that would be best for a person who has blood sugar issues. So that's an area you should investigate. Next one I have listed here is ingredient labels. It's always best to eat whole foods so that maybe there is no label. Just whatever the food is that you're looking at is the food, right? But sometimes we eat things that come in a box or a can or are several foods put together, and there's an ingredient label, and you have to be able to understand those. But this, again, is an area that almost everybody can improve on. I'd say everybody can improve on that because even I look at a label every now and again, and I look at it and I go, what is that? But the point is that when you come across things on labels that you don't understand, look them up. Almost everybody has access to a cell phone or a computer. Look them up, learn what they are so that you know in the future. And the last one I have listed here is literally understanding the definition of food. I mean, what is food? Just understanding that definition, what is food, really helps in terms of knowing what you should and shouldn't eat. And of course, there's many more things that you could list under knowledge. But my point here is that if you increase your level of knowledge in regards to diabetes, how your body works, and food, you'll be on your way to better health. And of course, you need to make sure that the source of the information that you're using is actually valid. I mean, personally, I was pre-diabetic at age 33. I was listening to all the conventional ideas about how to take care of my health, particularly what food to eat, and obviously that was wrong, right? Because the result of me listening to those things and doing those things, all those conventional ideas, especially about what foods to eat, resulted in me actually being pre-diabetic. So there was something wrong with that information. So what I did was I went out and I found better information, particularly with regards to food. And as you might guess, at age 34, my next blood test came back, not pre-diabetic, and it's been that way ever since. Okay, so the second reason people struggle with blood sugar problems is because they have turned over the responsibility of their own health to somebody else. Maybe a doctor, maybe a spouse who cooks for you, or maybe even a drug company. Now, if you look closely, I bet you've done this to some degree, because actually most people have. Now, medicine has gotten so advanced and it's so complex and specialized that most patients have given up on trying to understand or even do something about their health. But that is a big mistake. I'm not suggesting that you have to know everything that your doctor knows, because of course that would be absurd. He or she went to school for this. But what I am saying is that in order to achieve health, you've got to maintain personal responsibility for your health. And if you have given any part of that responsibility away, even to your doctor, you need to take that back. You know, if you take 100% ownership, then you can do something about diabetes. Okay, so let's look here where I've got responsibility listed. So the first one I have here is taking the responsibility back from your doctor. Now, of course, you're still going to work with your doctor. But I can assure you, you know, as you do this, if you've given your responsibility or a part of that responsibility to your doctor's going to like it that you're taking that responsibility back. It doesn't mean you don't work with them, and it doesn't mean you don't listen to them, but it means that, you know, when your doctor says something that you don't quite understand, and I know from a patient standpoint that happens quite often, ask your doctor about it. If they say something that doesn't quite make sense, ask them about it. You know, follow up after your appointment, research. You know, ask them what foods to eat. If they don't know, you know, find it out from another resource. Find out about the medication you're taking. Ask them how it is that they can help you become non-diabetic. Those are all the ways that you can take responsibility and take it back from your doctor. The second one I have listed here is assuming responsibility for the condition. Now, I'm not talking about blame here. All I'm simply saying is, you know, if you look at whatever condition you have, whether it's diabetes or something else, and you say, okay, well, obviously something I did, or some decision I made, or something had happened in my life that I had something to do with, well, that's at least partly the reason I'm in the situation I'm in now. And if you do that, well, then you give yourself a chance to actually do something about it, right? Because sometimes, and it's easy to do this, we've all done it, you know, something happens to us, particularly illness or disease, and we can easily feel a little bit like a victim. You know, like it came from the outside and it took away our ability to, you know, do the things we like to do, or, you know, feel good. And it's easy to feel a little bit of like a victim. It's understandable. But when we go in that direction, we become less and less causative. But if we take the viewpoint like, okay, I'm fully responsible for the position I'm in now, well, then you stand the best chance to move from where you are now to where you want to go. Okay, next one I've got here is I got here so I can get myself out of here. You know, we sort of bled over into that one when we talked about assuming responsibility. But the truth is, if you really look at it from that viewpoint, like, you know what, I have everything to do with the way my life has gone to this point and where I am now, well, that means you now have the power to be able to move forward and do the things you need to do to get where you want to go. All right, and the last one I listed here is I can or I will do something about it, meaning about my blood sugar issues or about the way I eat. Again, being causative about things really, it really is the answer. So this responsibility point is more of a mindset that guides your actions. It's a decision that you are the cause of things and not the effect of things. It's this viewpoint that will allow you to take effective action. Okay, so the third reason people struggle with blood sugar problems has to do with control. And this probably doesn't come as a surprise. You know, the level of your health has a lot to do with the level of control you're exerting on the environment around you. You know, the greater your control, the greater your health potential. So let's take a look at control. All right, so the first one I listed here is, access to the right foods. This is a big one. Making sure that in your house, you have foods that are going to be diabetic friendly and aren't going to jack your blood sugar. You know, if you have foods laying around that, that you're not supposed to eat, well, I'll speak for myself. If I've got foods laying around that I'm not supposed to eat, I'm likely to eat them at some point. You know, so getting those out of the environment. That's what I mean by controlling your environment. Have foods around you that you can eat, that are healthy for you, that won't affect your blood sugar in a negative way. Don't let yourself get over hungry. You know, we've all experienced it. You're working on eating the right way, but you get over hungry. You know, you go a few extra hours at work, or you decide to drive a little further on a road trip, and next thing you know, you're starving. And there's only one option. That option is not a good one. You know, you want to avoid those opportunities. So control your environment. Make sure that you don't get to a point where you're over hungry. Next one I have listed here is stick to eating properly. This is just a general self-control thing. And listen, this is an ongoing work in progress for everybody, myself included. You know, I have a certain diet that I stick to. Have I stuck to that diet 100% of the time ever since I started? Of course not. But do I stick to it most of the time? Absolutely. And as I've continued to work on this point, I stick to this diet more and more and more, and it becomes easier and easier. Not only because the mindset and the habits, but also because I mean, it seems like my taste buds have changed. You know, I tend to like the healthier foods the way they taste more so when I first started to switch over from a lot of the sweet foods I wasn't supposed to be eating. All right, controlling your environment in restaurants. You know, when you have specific foods that you want to eat and other foods that you want to avoid, one of the things you have to be able to do is, of course, choose restaurants that are going to have food that you can eat. But also, once you go to the restaurant, you're going to need to direct the wait staff, you know, regarding what you can and can't have on your dish. I make a lot of changes to the food, the way they're prepared on the menu. I probably drive the waitresses and waiters absolutely nuts. In fact, some of them come over, and if they're really good, they just ask for everybody's order without pen and paper. They never get through my order without pen and paper. They usually stop me halfway through, they pull it out, a little bit annoyed that they weren't able to get it all, and they start writing it down. You know, but I make sure they get it. And if the food comes out not prepared the way I need it, you know, I very nicely send it back, right? Because I've got to be able to control that in order for me to have have the food I need and eat the way I need to eat. Okay, the last one here I've got under control is just say no to sugar. Obviously, blood sugar problems stem mainly because we have too much sugar in our diet. And sugar can taste pretty good, but you got to say no to sugar. You know, sugar's a big one. So with regard to the different places in your diet where sugar is creeping in, I cover that in other videos. Okay, so how can any person start the process of digging themselves out of the hole called diabetes? It's by increasing three things: increasing their knowledge, taking back all the responsibility that they may have delegated out to others, and increasing the control on the environment. Now wait, before you go into apathy, because maybe you have a lot to handle here, just do whatever at whatever pace works for you, whether it's implementing one thing over a point of a few minutes or a few days or a few weeks. Whatever it is, you get one point in, and then do it again. In other words, go back and get another point in. Get that done. Then you pick another area, and you improve it. And you continue to work on it, you know, piece by piece. So, pick a point out of knowledge, pick a control point, pick a responsibility point, go back and pick two more control points, and you make your way that way. As soon as you do that, you are on the road to better health. And if you stick to it, you keep improving those areas, I think you'll find that controlling your blood sugar is not only possible, it can be pretty easy. And I'd like to see you get there. So pick one of those areas today and make it a better day.